Hey guys, how's it going? Live from, Concord, California here. I just had some recent inspiration in light of the recent AAP protest in Chicago last weekend. We had a killer turnout. It was certainly the largest hospital convention protest that I've been to. Met a lot of new people, made a lot of new friends, saw a lot of old friends and colleagues, and it was a really great experience. Thanks again to Holly and Raph for hosting Erica, Cassie, and myself, and Josh. That was really nice of you guys. I hadn't done this in a really long time, but I just decided to grab my signs and suit up and just go make some noise in the rush hour traffic for like an hour. Hadn't done that, like I said, in quite a while. Hit this spot by the movie theater in downtown Concord, and it was actually like a really good spot. Shit ton of cars moving slow, and saw a lot of people. There's some pretty good. I used to like always write recaps of these things, but I figured this is maybe more entertaining. Yo, Raph, see that? Awesome. And Holly, yeah, yo. This is cool. I've like always seen this on like, you see people do live stuff and they're commenting, but like now I'm that guy watching all the comments. It's pretty cool. So this group of teenagers walked by. It was kind of quiet. I was like, geez, this is weird. Like, I'm used to getting, fuck you, faggot, get out of here. And I didn't get any of that. And this group of young kids comes by, and this one kid was just like, yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. He was like, see, you're supposed to have that shit. And he looked at his friend, he was like, calling me a worm dick and whatever. And his friend was just like, yeah, I guess that's true. If I can wear a hoodie, why can't my dick? But I gave them some information, and the intact guy was pretty stoked to see me, and it kind of reminded me that like one of the really important things out here that we do is like letting all these young boys who got lucky enough to keep their whole bodies like know that they're not freaks. I mean, because so many of these guys get pressured into cutting their sons later or getting themselves cut later because of societal pressure. So it's really good to I'll be sure to do that, Holly. So it's really good to give these guys a sense of empowerment. And then another couple walked up behind me, and she gave me like the rock on, dude. And I gave her some cards, and she was like really proud to hear that we were all just protesting the AAP. And then after that, this kid, Michael, walks up to me, and he was like, yeah, dude, fuck circumcision. I've seen you out here, before. And I guess, he lives over in Antioch, so he must have been in town for whatever reason and seen one of our protests. So that was pretty awesome. And he was, a young kid who got it, was intact, and he just really understood the human rights aspect about it. But I let him know, and to a lot of people listening and who will watch this video later, I'm sure a bunch of you know this, but I'm sure a lot of you actually don't know this. The reason why we so vigorously go after the AAP, I mean, ACOG's an important event, but AAP is like the white whale, because these guys, obviously it's their circumcision policy statement, but there's more history to it that is kind of important, I think, to know if you're doing this work. The guidelines in the American Pediatrics Manual about circumcision used to actually be a lot more acceptable. Back in the 80s and before, probably even up to the early 90s, I mean, it it did discuss that the foreskin had a purpose, that it protected the head of the penis, and that circumcision caused some resulting damage, obviously, if it was removed. It said that it was, not a necessary procedure. It was not recommended. So, I mean, what that really shows is that for quite a while, I mean, certainly there is a lot of pressure, or there was, it being done in the medical community, but it was a societal sort of just traditional thing at the same time. And then at some point in the 90s, I'll have to get back to you on the date, or maybe one of you reading now can tell me, but at some point in the 90s, Edgar Schoen and them revised the guidelines, and they removed this whole section about the foreskin and its protective elements. And then, but in the Penn and Teller's episode, which I think came out in 2002, they quote the AAP, and they say, like, the American Academy of Pediatrics actually says the benefits of circumcision are not sufficient to recommend it for newborn boys. That was like all they said, which, it's not good that they're saying there's any benefits, but it also is not saying what it says now, which is the benefits outweigh the risks, which just came about in 2012 when this circumcision committee of a bunch of fucking sex criminal quacks who either have a religious agenda or a professional agenda because they cut a shit ton of boys as part of their job. They, Holly knows what's up. The AAP has flip-flopped a bunch. And it really depends who's on the committee. And the committee in 2012 was, as, Brother K mentioned in his video from last year's protest, there was a doctor, even in the AAP, who was like, yeah, well, look who they picked for the committee. They all should have declared a conflict of interest. Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Brother K just posted about it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So now we have this guideline and this policy that says, the benefits outweigh the risks, and essentially give parents the green light to go ahead and do it. No judgment, no questions asked. Go for it. It's fine. Benefits outweigh the risks. And if the AAP says something, it's pretty much not questioned. Like, most of your American civilians, most doctors when they turn to information, if the American Academy of Pediatrics says it, that's it. So, yeah, Adam, I agree. Fuck the AAP. So if the AAP says it, then people are going to do it. And, that's what's such a problem with this Dr. Gong's presentation that just happened is, all these doctors in there are hearing this guy who's a circumcision spokesperson for the AAP, and they're lapping it all up. And, there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not millions at this point, of American boys who have been mutilated because their parents Googled circumcision pros and cons and see that the AAP says the benefits outweigh the risks. The first time I ever had a really in-depth conversation with somebody about this who supports the issue, they Googled this and that hit came up and they were like, well, the AAP does say this, so, I'm not saying you're wrong, but maybe you should check your facts and this and that. So this statement has had a profound influence for the worst. And so it really needs, the fire really needs to be held to these fuckers because, the 4 or 5 slimy doctors who were part of this committee had no intention of any medical benefit behind this. It was all about power and profit and, ego and making themselves look good and keeping the AAP looking good because, if we say our practitioners are doing something harmful and wrong, that, doesn't really look very good. But so anyway, that kid, Michael, he posed for a picture. I'll post it later. He was very uplifted. Like, he left seeming very proud that, he got to, dabble his feet in, a little bit of activism himself. And it's always kind of funny when something so positive is followed by something so weird. And this guy walked across the street and points at me and he goes, "That's funny, man." I mean, we've all heard that before. And I was just like, "Well, here, would you like an info card?" And he was kind of reluctant. I was like, "Hey, just share it with a friend." And he was like, "I'm gay, so, I'm not going to be procreating." And I was like, "Well, you have friends who may be." And he was like, And then he kind of motioned toward the trash can, and I was like, "Well, I'll take it back if you're going to throw it away." And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Man, it does concern you because you're gay and you're probably having sex with damaged men and your sex life is probably not what it could be because of that. So, this is a human rights issue that affects everybody. It's not just about parents of boys." And then, right after that, some lady in her SUV drives by and just, gives me the thumbs down. And it was just like, thumbs down what? But, I mean, that was it. There was a ton of thumbs up. Even one lady who kind of, was like, "Oh, my God," and took a photo. I eventually was like, "Here, I'll trade you a card now for that photo." And she was like, "All right." And she took it and she read the card. So, I don't know. It's pretty, it's always amusing, but it's always fun and it's uplifting. And it's, there certainly has been a shift. I mean, it used to be guaranteed, you stepped out around these parts to do this and you would get yelled at and ridiculed, and it's really, I don't see that happening as much. I mean, it happens, but it's not like what I expect the majority of people to react like anymore, and that's really, really, really uplifting. So it goes to show how important getting out in the public's face is. I mean, if I can go out and just give out 20 info cards in 45 minutes, after work one day, and have a bunch of photos taken of me, and make 5 people's day, who will probably tell 5 more people each about what they saw. Imagine how much work gets done and how much progress is made during these, 10, 20-day tours that Bloodstained Men does. And, every bit of effort that we do is really important, but I strongly believe that the most important work that we can do right now is getting out in the face of the public. And because the next generation is not stupid. There was not one person under the age of 25, I would say, that I've talked to about this recently who has been negative or nasty or not open about it. I mean, they get it. It's really fucking basic. It's not right to cut off part of someone's genitals, period. It's just not right. But the older generation is from a different time where you didn't question things that were the norm, and you didn't question things that made people feel uncomfortable and involved talking about sex. But we're not part of that generation, and our generation is much more open to change, and we're much more open to questioning authority, and we're comfortable talking about sex, and we're comfortable with nudity in our bodies. And it's just, we really are the generation who is already, I believe, already turning the tide. And it's I like that. Change never came from a comfort zone. That's what's up. That's very true. But it's happening, and these doctors fighting back the way they are with this 2012 garbage statement with Dr. Quack Gong and his circumcision fetish presentation that he gave, just ridiculing intactivists and just never discussing the structure and function and benefits that the foreskin provides. They don't even calculate it into their logical reasoning of the benefits outweigh the risks. they just leave it out entirely. You know, it's like, how can you say the benefits of removing a body part? How can you say there's any benefits to removing a body part if you don't even recognize what the functions of that body part are? I mean, it's like, it's fucking absolutely ridiculous. And the AAP should be absolutely ashamed of themselves for appointing such a ridiculous committee to make such a ridiculous statement that has harmed so many boys and families, and is continuing to do so every day. You know, every single day, I guarantee you that there are hundreds of families who look into the AAP's, and all they need to see is that title. The AAP says the benefits of male circumcision outweigh the risks. They don't read into the rest of the thing. That's all they need to see. They schedule the circumcision. They say yes to the doctor when he comes in, and that's it. I mean, that's... So, you know, this is a really huge problem. But the American people are not stupid. You know, they may have fallen for a lie, and they may be gullible, but they're not stupid. And when you talk to the right people and you talk to them the right way, you know, they get it. And this is not going to last forever. It's never going to end fast enough. But, you know, I really thank everybody for what they're doing. And, you know, so many of you just don't you left all your fucks at home, and you're ready to just take it to them. And I love it. It's great. And it's really inspiring. And, you know, there's a way to go about doing things properly, I strongly believe. And, you know, you have to meet people where they're at. I remember, you know, rest in peace, one of the things Jonathan Conte always taught me was, like, you know, you have to meet people where they're at. You know, you can't just go for the throat right away with somebody. And, you know, with a man who's coming, for example, a man that's coming at this with a very defensive, I'm not damaged attitude, you know, you don't start spilling off foreskin facts to him, right? I mean, he's not going to want to take them in. He's already trying to tell you that he's not damaged. So before you go there, let's just talk about, okay, well, you know, was it your choice? You know, don't you think maybe it should be your choice? Sorts of things like that. So, you know, it's not easy to convince everybody, but there are 1.5 million open minds out there, and you just have to figure out the combination to unlock the padlock, and you will get it. You'll get to them. So, like I was saying, talk about the issue, get out there. You know, when Bloodstained Men comes to town, get out there and join us. Hopefully we inspire you to throw protests of your own. Hopefully we inspire you sometimes to go out there on your own. There's something pretty powerful about one person standing on a street corner with the balls to speak about a controversial issue. And I remember when I saw Brother K and Jonathan Conte and Shelley Wright and all these people doing that, I remember thinking, whoa, like, I can do that too. I can make just as big of a difference. And sure enough, you know, there's a ton of us now that are doing it. And hey, Erica, what's up? And yes, Robbie, very nice. I like you. Do you like me? But there are a lot of upcoming events. Bloodstained Men is going to be hitting Southern California in October. I believe it's a 19-day tour all throughout Southern California. You know, they're going to just reach just tens of millions of Americans on this tour. I have no doubt about it. And 2018 is going to be stacked as usual, as the years always have been, with more and more tours. And David Atkinson is really working around the clock to find the best locations with the most eyeballs. And we really cannot stress enough, and I don't want to, be that guy, but, we really can't stress enough how important your donations are. Like, we would not be able to do this work at the magnitude we're doing it, at the velocity we're doing it, and at the intensity that we're doing it without money in the bank to fly people around the country and to rent rental cars and to make signs produced and info cards. And, we've really built a name for Bloodstained Men. It is recognized. Brother K told me that there was a doctor at the convention center this past weekend in Chicago who said, I tell people to check out Bloodstained Men. This is, like today, the kid, he's like, I've seen you out here. We are becoming known that there are a lot of Americans. We are letting it be known that there are a lot of Americans who are extremely there. Brother K just posted a link to the circumcision crisis tour in Southern California. Thank you, Robbie. That's great. Robbie says he's raising donations. That's awesome. And I, James, I agree. And look, I don't want to toot our own horn here, but look, all I'll say is with Bloodstained Men, where the money is going because you see it every day. And we are, when I started this, there was a handful of, maybe week-long protests a year that Brother K would throw together. Now there's like 5 to 10 tours a year, all of which consist of at least 2 weeks of work. And the only tour I did was Texas, and it was 6 days, and it was the most tiring 6 days, of my life. It was also the most uplifting and probably some of the most life-changing 6 days of my life. And I really do not understand how these men and women do this for 10, 15, 20 days in a row. I mean, honestly, my hat is off to you guys because, you know what? I'm sure if I was there feeling all your energy, I would be able to do it too, but I truly can't imagine, 5 hours a day, 20 days in a row on the streets of America in the face of what we're up against. And so you guys seriously are fucking kick ass, and we 3 years ago could not have imagined where Bloodstained Men has got today. I mean, we're, what was last year? I think we were in over 60 cities around America in 2016, and I believe we'll top that in 2017. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And I mean, this is amazing work. We've seen what happens, when the townspeople take photos and all of a sudden all over the local social media and local news stations, it's all you hear about. And that's why every year at SF Pride, which we kind of use as our baseline bar, it's just the public reactions. I mean, the first year I did Pride, it was just like, oh my God, I don't know if I ever want to come back. And now it's like the most fun event we do. It's like become socially unacceptable to ridicule circumcision protesters. And because people are realizing this is a serious issue. I mean, this is a very, very, very serious issue. And it's not going to go away without everyone's hard work. So, again, you guys are really, 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 really just the best. And it was such an amazing time this last weekend with everybody. And I thank you for inspiring me to do a little work this afternoon. And I hope that I've inspired you guys to talk about this issue more and to get out there and put yourselves out there, because it can be a little anxiety provoking. I even was like, do I really want to do this today? But then I went and did it, and now I'm like super stoked because I went out there and I made a difference, and you can see it. So thanks for all your support. You can donate to Bloodstained Men. Donate button at bloodstainedmen.org. Brother K just posted a link about it, a comment about it. This is a national crisis, and we are not going to be quiet about it. And as long as Bloodstained Men is around, the baby cutters are definitely gonna be wishing they hadn't made that mistake. That's for sure. So I'm gonna take off. Excuse me, it's dinner time. I got shit to do tonight. But love you guys, and mwah. Thank you for your support. You guys are fucking beautiful, and we fucking love you. Yes, Robbie, we cannot stop. Won't stop.